Hey everybody, welcome to Ski with Steezy. This is your host, Michael Schaefer, and I've got Dan, tell your last name for me.
Pichette, Dan Pichette.
Dan Pichette from CMH Bugaboo. And Dan was our heli guide today, and we're gonna talk about powder skiing. And Dan, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and your background and all that.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Dan Pichette. I'm a ski guide here with CMH Heli Skiing. We're at the fabulous CMH Bugaboo Lodge. I've been heli ski guiding for about 15 years and working in the snow for about 20 years. And I'm certified as a ski guide through the Association of Canadian Mountain Guides and also a professional member of the Canadian Avalanche Association.
That's awesome. Man, we had some pretty incredible weather this week.
Yeah, what a score. That was a score of a week. We had a bit of everything, didn't we?
We really did. And actually, the little bit of everything is one of the things I want to talk to you about, because the variable conditions, can be challenging. And it really sort of accentuates the importance of the technique and the fitness and everything else. But what an incredible week and such a good time. One of the things that I would like to talk about with you, and thank you for agreeing to doing this, is some of the differences for the folks out there who are wondering, what is heli skiing like? So yeah, one of the things I want to talk to you about is the differences between resort skiing and getting in a helicopter, flying to the top of a peak, and skiing a run that has been scoped out by your safety team, but it could have a lot of different conditions from the top of that run to the very bottom. Can you talk about some of those differences?
Yeah, that's a main difference, with backcountry skiing. Is it's good to remember we're truly in a wilderness environment out here, and that's what I always tell folks is one of the main differences. There's many unmarked hazards. Yeah. We have to work together as a team to safely move down the mountain. And versus skiing at a ski resort, especially on the hard pack, we have a predictable surface. Yep. We can get into a flow with a predictable surface, where for us, we might experience in the high alpine, a little bit of wind pressed snow and beautiful powder snow skiing. And then we might have a little bit of heavier snow in the lower elevation. We might have open trees, might have tighter trees. So the runs vary all the time. We're not able to go back to the same run sometimes if the weather is changing throughout the day. So we might get pushed across the valley and be chasing sunshine or better flying conditions for the helicopters. So we may end up on a northerly aspect and then have to quickly switch over to a southerly aspect with a different character throughout the day. So it can change a lot throughout the day out there for sure.
Let's talk about that team for a little bit too, because one of the things that a lot of people I'm sure are wondering is how safe is this? I got to tell you, we've talked about this a bunch on this trip. I've been so impressed with the team, the professionalism, the attention to detail, the safety aspect of everything. And one of the things that just blew me away is the teamwork between you and Rocco, or you and MB, and then within the team as well. Like you guys, the culture here really builds this philosophy of hey, we're all in this together.
That's right.
And
yeah.
We don't have a groomed run that we know someone has inspected and made sure that it's perfectly safe. We're out there in the wilderness, like you said.
That's right. Yeah, it's super important throughout the day, and that's what's so fun in this heli ski environment is we have an amazing team to work with. And the unique part about CMH Bugaboos is this is our 61st year of running in this area. So, not only do we have a strong team of experienced guides, but we like to instill that teamwork in with our guests. And it's really important that everyone does look out for each other out there, because we are, even though we've been here for 61 years, it's a wilderness setting. And you can move around pretty quickly in a helicopter. So it's good to, we encourage the guests to speak up throughout the day. If they notice things, even if it's a bumpy traverse getting to a pickup spot, it's everybody's looking out for each other. And this week was just awesome for that. Our group gelled so well together. And I've noticed that a lot with many groups heli skiing. It's everyone kind of builds that team environment, and it's a fun way to move around the mountains together.
Let's talk about this week a little bit and the program that we were in this week. was an intro to powder skiing.
Yeah.
And I am a level 2 certified instructor, and I signed up for the intro, right? And the reason for that is that the skiing that I do at the resort is with all that nice grip. Even if I'm skiing bumps or anything else, like everything is very predictable. I can ski a ski that's that I'm comfortable with, like a more aggressive, thinner, more carving oriented ski. And then I come out here and it's very challenging, you know. And I really enjoyed this week, and I recommend it to everyone out there. If you get a chance, you have any aspirations of skiing, but also have some concerns. The pacing was so good, and you saw it. Like, you saw our whole group kind of start off a little shaky and like a little tentative, and little by little we got some coaching, and we got some feedback, we got some video analysis, and then the channel, you've seen some of the videos that we've already put out there. The whole group like blossomed, you know, in that environment.
Yeah.
There was not high pressure. It was encouraging and supportive.
Right.
And wow, like the whole team.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
that's
then,
what
like,
we're shooting for.
Yeah. Well, and then you saw like day 3 too. Like, we were kind of ripping it out there a little bit.
Ripping, yeah. Turned into the wolf pack, we called you guys.
Yeah, we were ripping, and then the legs, you know, we started kind of old men start wearing down. But so much fun and super safe, and what a great time. So you guys should consider doing it sometime. Let's talk about some of the technique, because as a skier myself, like, I'm always trying to find interesting people to pick their brain, and especially, you know, watching you ski, watching MB ski, so effortless and beautiful and in control. And then when you need to put the hammer down, you know, I saw you put the hammer down a couple of times, and it's there. You've got that extra capacity. What to you are like for our viewers here, what are the key things to be working on in their skiing to be successful at powder skiing?
It's a good question. Like, for me, it's about like a nice day of powder skiing, to go heli skiing in the backcountry. We want to have an efficiency where we can enjoy a full day of untracked powder snow skiing. And that's what we find is sometimes guests will come with a bit of a resort skiing background, and maybe they're tentative, they end up and it comes down to their stance. Yeah. And if you're in the wrong stance, that's a foundation point. You can burn yourself out. And I'm sure we've all felt that before when we get into choppy snow or powder snow skiing. You know, maybe we end up a little bit in the back seat. We're feeling that tentativeness. We're not using the ski, you know, we're not using that whole point of the ski. We're just riding our tails, and we're riding our quads, right? And the burnout happens quick. And I'm sure we experienced that on the first day.
For sure.
So 100%. We like to start with the foundational piece with a little bit of coaching on stance and what feels comfortable on these big fat powder skis, and how to initiate a turn. Where's our comfortable place so that we can enjoy, you know, we stack our skeleton in the boots, right? And we're not just burning our quads. So we do work a bit on stance right away, right off the hop. And often folks will just be able to, you know, burn less gas in their tanks and enjoy that full day of powder snow.
So we're seated right now. We can't really demo it, but we can describe it, right? Like that skeleton, when we're standing erect, then all of the weight sort of comes through the skeletal system down to the feet, right? But now we don't want to stand with our knees locked, right? So we're going to flex a little bit in the ankle, a little bit in the knee, a little bit in the hip. Hands forward.
Hands forward, yeah.
And then, you know, if we were to get low, now we're using all those big muscle groups.
That's right.
But then we got to return back to that position so we get stacked again, so we can take a little break on those big muscle groups.
Right. Like, a lot of people feel like when they go powder skiing, they're just worried their tips are going to dive.
Right.
That's also part of it here, is we have the ability to try a bunch of different powder skis, which we did a bit of that today.
We did.
You know, so it is fun to try those powder skis and find where your stance is. so you can enjoy that efficient day of powder skiing. You know, and we coach people to be in that ready stance, you know, that I call it my warrior stance, right? So you can attack the mountain, which brings us forward, which brings us in that efficient mode.
Let's talk about that attacking mindset, because I find that makes such a huge difference. Like what is the difference between like being in an attacking mindset and a passive mindset?
It's that you know, that 5% more, you know, like it's easy. A lot of us, we can become lazy skiers, particularly at the resort. You know, we have our favorite runs, we can kind of stand upright, we can coast along, we can wash our skis back and forth, but I'm sure we've all felt it too when you're in that ready stance. You know, you're a little bit lower, your shoulders are a little bit curled, you're stacked in your boots, and you can feel when you're working it, right? And that's what we coach people on, is you want to have that ready stance. And then when you have those unmarked hazards approaching, like a subtle change in terrain or a bump or a little tree well or a down log with snow on it, you're ready for it. And that's going to help us stay upright and stay in the fall line. Yeah, for sure.
So that segues nicely into something that I've been working on in my skiing out there today and in the last 3 days. And that's finding a bounce point on the ski, right? So like we do a lot of coaching in my line of work where we're trying to get into talking about stance. We want to stand like this and have our hands like this and whatever. But there's sort of a goal to that. And I'm finding that for me, what that goal is that there's a point where if I'm pushing that ski down in the snow, but I'm pushing here as opposed to here or back here, like if I'm there, it's in all the skis that I've skied this week had a different like place where
a sweet spot.
And if I got on that sweet spot and if I could keep it there, the ski would naturally turn. With very little effort. So the balance point thing is something that I'm working on in a lot of my skiing. Even in the resort skiing, it's something that I'm working on, which has a lot to do with the whole body, center of mass wants to move down the hill, and my skis are going to diverge for a moment, okay? But then I want them to come back underneath me.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that pressure point changes, like, and this kind of segues nicely into the warrior mindset versus the passive mindset. Because when I start that turn, especially if we're in like a glade of trees and I've got a little roller and it drops down, like I have to get those ski tips into the snow.
Yes, yeah.
To get that pressure point in the right spot. So I can't, if I'm passive and I'm back here, now I've got the pressure point under my heel.
Yeah, exactly.
And those tails lock into that deep snow, and I can't get anything to happen.
Back, and then the ski is gone.
Yeah, and
yeah, exactly.
And a lot of those skis too, with that early rocker, they like to shoot a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I can get them down, and press them into that snow,
that's right,
on that spot, they come around.
Totally.
So a lot of what I'm learning about skiing out here is you got to find, you find a ski you like that fits your style. And then find where that sweet spot is, and then learn to drive the ski.
To drive it, exactly.
Drive it into the snow and let it do its job.
Yeah, and I'll steal the line from one of our leaders on this trip was, we have $1,000 ski and we're only using $300 worth of it on the back seat. That's one of my favorite lines.
I'm going to steal that one too.
So if it's $1,000 ski, let's use it, right?
Let's
We're
use
going to use that $1,000 ski, right? Not the $250 in the back.
Right, so PSIA has this, they talk about directing pressure along the length of the ski, and that's kind of that idea of like let's use the whole ski, whole ski. And man, it makes such a huge difference because you don't get these massive spikes when I do it right. Like it's smooth and round, and the pressure is evenly distributed throughout the turn, and you can just go. Totally. And that's kind of when I watch you ski. Like everything's compact, and you're just flowing. You're not working too hard.
Nice, yeah. We've got to keep our gas in the tank to be a full day heli skiing out there.
For sure. All right, so I got one more
Okay.
concept for you to comment on, and that is this idea of retraction. We talked about that a minute
right.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Steezy Joe Network, if you haven't checked it out, check out the Steezy Joe Network, because we talk about bump skiing with U.S. Olympian Dylan Walzak, and lots of great lessons out there. And one of the things we talk about on that channel is having a strong inside half. It's kind of a racer mentality of having that inside hip driving. When you raise the inside hip, it actually drives pressure to the outside ski. I tried some of that technique in the deep powder, like on day one, and I could not get. It was not. We want to do things with the skis kind of equally pressured, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as I started doing this, like I started trenching on one leg, and man, it wears your thigh out when you start doing that, right?
Yeah.
But what I did notice, and I love your thoughts on this, is that when I would get on that balance point and pressure the ski into the snow and it'd come around, they would scoot on me a little bit at the finish, but I could retract and get back up on the ball of the foot for the top of the next turn. Do you use your hamstrings at all in a retraction move?
I don't typically fully pull the hamstrings in, or I don't actively engage them, but for me it is that pole plant piece to finish that turn. And you know, that's where it's important for powder skiing, is we want to have that nice even stance. A lot of folks do show up with a more narrow stance, right, in a resort skiing, and we want to have that even stance, maybe a little bit wider than feels comfortable at first. And then as we're going through our turn, it's less of a retraction as it is that pole plant to finish and then execute into the next.
Is the pole plant giving you some projection?
It's a projection, and it's a signal that the turn is over. The turn is over, and we're moving through to the next.
And the other thing, Rocco was Rocco is this famous guide up here who we had for 3 days, and then on his birthday. I'll be sharing that video later. But one of the other things that he talked about a lot too was that the pole plant also was, you know, on the down move.
It's on the down,
It's on the down move, pole, and that would. So we didn't really need as long a pull. Because we were pulling when we were, you know, receiving that energy, bam. So pulling on the down was something that I had to adapt to, because I tend to turn, receive pressure, and then I'm thinking about pulling like on the backside of a mogul. Right. So there's kind of a little bit of a delay for me, but more of the absorb, pole plant. Absorb, pole plant.
That's right.
And it did help me kind of keep my upper body moving in that direction of the next apex of the turn.
That's right. And going back to the pole length is a big piece too for us, for a lot of our guests that show up with a resort background. You know, that they're used to a longer pole, which keeps our body more erect and upright. And we actually, quite often, I'll bring guests down a couple centimeters or a couple inches into the next pole length down. And that'll bring people just into that a little more forward, a little more ready, and especially in the deep powder snow, like we had in our first couple days, was really deep. So we did all shorten our poles, and I found it helped people just get into that ready stance.
And another way to visualize this too is understand that, like, when we make a turn in that snow, the snow is up here. So we're, you know, and then we're pulling, you know, on the snow here. So compensating for like how deeply and how
deep snow.
For sure. Now on some of those runs though, it was fairly steep, so you know you had some space, but that was really cool. Well, hey, I think 20 minutes is a pretty good amount of time to talk about paddle skiing. Dan,
cheers! What a great
week! That was a lot of fun, buddy. I sure enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
If you ever make it out to Colorado, come ski with us.
Hope so too. We hope to see you again.
I mean, I'm coming back for sure.
Nice.
All right.
Cool. Thanks so much, Michael.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care, guys.